Okay.
Hello, hello, Joyce. Sorry for
Hello,
There,
Miss Janice. How are
sorry
you?
for not being able to show my my video because we are having bad connection. So I
no
was
worries.
advised by the IT that it's better to turn off the video. Sorry, apologies, but
No
I'm sure
worries.
we have more
No
people.
worries at all.
Thank you.
So, Janice, I'll turn it over to you because it's because of your intent to work with and through Priya that I thought it'd be excellent to connect you together. So I'll let you, Joyce, introduce yourself, and then we can take it from there. Ball's in your court.
Okay. Hi, Joyce. Uh, so nice meeting you. Thanks, Andrew, for making this introduction. Well, I'm Janice Da Silva. I'm Cape Verdean. I worked for the United Nations for 20 years in 5 different programs, organizations, and now I am retired from the organization and running. Let's say, initiatives, personal initiatives, and partnership with Andrew Williams within the AHIABGA network. We set up as in 2 years back now, and we inspired on what Andrew has been doing, which has to do with gathering people from around the world, people with goodwill to do something concrete for development. I launched Dev17, which is a network, a multi-professional network with the goal to reflect on how we can together localize. Well, I like the word localize. It's the SDGs. Um, Basically, Dev17 is attached to AHIABGA. It's not an organization itself. It's an initiative. It's a global initiative, part of AHIABGA. So the idea is to to gather as much as possible professionals, people of goodwill that wish to show their interest, to show their goodwill, to do concrete things to localize the SDGs. I now belong officially to the Catholic Church as a consecrated religious, and in dialoguing with them, and also with some other goodwill ambassadors, Ambassador Andrew, Ambassador Maria Venek, which is part of 5 Points Youth Foundation. 5 Points Youth Foundation was the entry point for our intellectual collaborative. I just, to me nowadays, it's so clear and based on my experience, my UN experience, that you won't make it just with ideas. Of course, ideas, they are so important, they are key. But you need to generate funds to support development, and I came up with well, last year during the lockdown, I just had this idea of why not putting what we before used to do it as just a hobby, a relaxing hobby. And in my case, it's designing dresses, designing. I used to be a diplomat, a very colorful diplomat. My friends, they always told me, oh, you are so colorful. I don't have this, I don't have the courage to attend a meeting wearing a yellow with pink, because it's true at the UN, I never respected the dress code in terms of colors at the UN. And that become, I create a sort of, tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to advocate, and still and will forever advocate for our African colors. They are so powerful that I think we should, show them worldwide. And that is what I did at the UN. And I just last year speaking with some, colleagues, nuns, priestess, and people from the different parish, etc. And as I mentioned, global advocates, global ambassadors. I told them, okay, uh, you know, I'm gonna sit down and write a 2-page uh, concept on what I think our hobbies can really help us transform the world. In my case, is designing dresses, so I'm gonna do write down something towards it, and that is how all those came up. One dress, one smile. So the idea is that through one dress, you can put a smile on a face of someone who lives in poverty. And you know that in Africa, we're still facing the poverty, and now it's becoming more critical due to this COVID-19 crisis, but other issues such as we always face this lack of good governance issue here in Africa, but not only. So uh, we are here offering a product which is dresses. We provide dresses design of haute couture dresses. We want to sell it worldwide, and we keep a percentage for our technical assistance, of course, and the greatest percentage goes to fund SDGs oriented projects or initiatives. So that is the story about how all those started. And in last year, on the 24th October, which is the UN Day, I launched it officially online. Okay, I created this Facebook page of photos, invited friends to give a like, and it's now 8 to 900 followers, and we decided to do showcases, to showcase orders, and like that we were able to organize 4 events here in Praia, because it's always good to start from where we are born, from where we live. Huh? It's more easy, yeah. And yeah, and like that we were able to mobilize different stakeholders. We were able to mobilize the Ministry of Health. We were able to mobilize the Ministry of Social Inclusion, able to mobilize as well, entrepreneurs, musicians, people that from the, I don't like this term, but the high society, people that have influencers. Right now, I think that there is a more nice and kind word to this. The influencers, social and political and economic influencers. So they came to all those, and we combined it with dialoguing about a global observance day. It was 3. It was the World Diabetes Prevention Day, the 20 not the day to prevent violence against women and girls, the World Human Rights Day, and the World People Living with Disabilities Day. And the format was this. We just invited people from AHIABGA network, but from Global Peace Let's Talk as well, a network. And like that, we created this dialogue, them with local stakeholders. Here we discussed about global teams, and as a start of the first step of the event of this global dialogue were a parade. So they invited influential people, but also children living with disabilities to show a dress. So they mobilized, dressmakers, poor ladies who ladies, and it was a man too among them, uh, dressmakers that live in poverty, because we are, we know that data show us, global data show us that, poverty still unfortunately have a female face. So advocating for ladies, and I provided them to the designs, the sketches, and they uh, made these dresses, and people went to the parade, showed the dresses on television, on Facebook, and like that we were able to organize this. There you can see an example. I have more than a thousand sketches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the idea, combining development with a product, which is dresses, and the funds we raised with it, because it's a trade, it's still a trade oriented, a humanitarian business, and like that we can generate funds to support concrete initiatives or concrete projects towards the localization of the SDGs. Of course, the you know the documents, they are UN oriented. They observe the UN rules and financial rules and regulations. It couldn't be otherwise, and that is how we want to expand ODOS. And just to conclude, there was a mayor that wanted me to support him, because it's so expensive to hire consultants, of course, all over the world, not differently here in Africa, especially to hire, uh, senior consultants. But he wanted to have a strategic document, a 10 years strategic cooperation document that he wants to to fundraise. I told him, okay, I can quickly, like in a month, prepare you this document, prepare you a nice document, and what you can do, you don't have funds to pay me, no problem. It's not a big deal, but you help me organize the parades, okay? And that's how we collaborate. And he was so good, amazing indeed. And we normally give them certificates, just people all over the world love certificates. I never understood why, but we all, yeah.
It's
So
so that it's something.
yes, so we issue them certificates in partnership with AHIABGA and Global Peace Let's Talk and other organizations, etc. They feel so proud. They show it on television, etc., and on Facebook. So here you see some children wearing dresses based on fruits and vegetables to advocate for diabetes prevention, you know. Based on all this amazing moments and events, I never thought they would have a good impact, but they had. Thanks to Andrew, thanks to all those international friends, and of course to local stakeholders, I decided this year to sit down again and update ODOS. Told to myself, well, ODOS seems to have its power, so let's take this opportunity to provide consultancy. Let's we are AHIABGA is a global board that has people with different backgrounds, that has senior people with different backgrounds, why not providing technical support to mayors, to ministries, to organizations from different, origins? Yes, let's do coaching in different areas, in different, through, okay, all those is an excuse for us to really set up a development strategic plan that we will jointly stand up to implement it. So that's a little bit the story about this Odos thing.
Well, actually, Joyce, I wanted to let you know that I believe that your work with the Armo Williams Foundation and We Lab is a perfect fit with what Janice is doing. But I like to, Janice, I want to kind of bring you out of retirement a bit. And I would like for you to apply your technical expertise to Joyce and the work that she's doing. Joyce, as you may know, among other things, is a policy advisor for the African Continental Free Trade Area Policy Network in Ghana. So Joyce, this is our opportunity to bring your skill sets to bear, because the fact that you're multilingual makes you even more powerful when you add your voice to what we're doing. But Joyce, I'll let you introduce yourself now to Janice and describe how you think we may be able to work together.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Always a pleasure. And Sister Janice, then, since you are in a religious order, I am Catholic. So I've been Catholic since I was born, and a pleasure meeting you. I'm originally from Ghana, and I am a lawyer by profession, and focus my legal practice on international trade and immigration issues. Amongst being, besides being a lawyer, I also have a foundation, the Armo Williams Foundation, and under that, I have a program called We Lab. And under We Lab, I've been working with women in Ghana to really help them to scale their businesses, register businesses, and then also find access to finance. So I have collaborated with a nonprofit called AHIABGA that actually teaches women how to make reusable sanitary pad. And right now we have trained combined of 500 women in Ghana. In addition to that, I'm currently in a conversation with another group that is called Ecophilic. They are based in the UK, and they are going to Ghana very soon. And they are putting up a fabrication lab where they train workers to make different things for corporations like Target, like IKEA and other things. So they would train the people to learn how to do it while they're getting paid. And when they have enough machine hours, they can design and produce their own things that they have in mind, or they can just continue working in the fabrication lab. So I'm assembling women in cosmetics, women in the creative arts, especially in sewing, for them to be able to benefit from the fabrication lab. So we are currently discussing a joint venture. So as Andrew was showing what you're doing with the One Dress, One Smile, I think that fits into what we are trying to look at. Last year, I had a conversation with a gentleman from India who has developed a platform where you can list different women or different entities, really. It's like a local stock exchange where the companies can be listed on there. And instead of people donating money to causes in Africa, they can say that, oh, I like this project that is going on, so I want to invest in that project. Instead of just being a donation. So it becomes an investment into the women and the entrepreneurs so that they will have resources to grow. One of the things that really is of importance to me is rural development, because you see that a lot of the women in the rural areas get left behind. And also they tend to need very less capital, and banks will just not lend to them. Even other fintech entities don't go as far as lending to rural women. So I'm working on generating funds in order to be able to provide like that financial gap for those women through the fabrication lab and also through the East Corp platform that we'll be deploying. So those are the two major things that I'm working on in terms of the foundation, creating the opportunities, and then also creating access to finance. I have had some conversation, for instance, with the African Exim Bank to really look at facilities that would target rural women and also rural entrepreneurs in general, because their structure right now is they will usually lend to central banks, who would then give it to local banks to lend to businesses. However, they still go through the whole formal system of quite an indicators of either putting up a collateral, having good credit, and all of those things. And the numbers are just not there for rural entrepreneurs. And so it doesn't work for them. So I'm having conversations with them in terms of really also switching focus and just really looking at alternative ways to bring the financing to those local women, especially in the context of the African Continental Free Trade. If that's going to work, it's very important for the informal, low-level economies and businesses to really be capitalized and start to grow. So when they begin to grow from there, then communities have resources, and the SMEs will be able to expand and grow, and then take advantage of the continents, the market that is opening in the market. I'm also working with Tropics Summits, which I have spoken at their events, and they invited me to be part of Tropics Invest. And the mayor of Praia has invited Tropics Summits to host in Praia October this year. So we are very excited about being in Cape Verde this year. Actually, as we are speaking, my colleague from Tropics Summit, who is based in Luxembourg, Lino, I think he arrived in Cape Verde yesterday, or he's arriving today, as part of the preparation for the Tropics Summit. And the Tropics Summit looks at all areas. I think the program runs through almost about 12 different sectors with meetings, deal rooms, fashion shows. It's really the whole package. In the last 2 years, it's been online because of the pandemic, but it's really been very successful. So we are really excited to be able to have something in person this year, and more importantly, to also have it in Cape Verde. So I'm really looking forward to being in Cape Verde and just really growing and learning more about the island. I remember that I spent some time in Macau, University of Macau, 1 week as a guest lecturer there, and they had the Lusophone week. And so I met a few people from Angola and from Cape Verde who were there for the event, and I still maintain contact with them. They live in Macau now, but it was just wonderful to really see what really the opportunities and potential that Cape Verde has, even as an island nation. And you mentioned about helping the mayor with the development plan. I think that's something that I'll be interested in helping as well, and then taking that development plan even further to fundraise and to look for project partners, so that those projects will really become a reality, because that's one of my practice areas, is project financing. So I will stop here, and then we can, I will let you speak, Sister Janice.
Thank you so much. So inspiring, and I'm so happy that you are planning to come to Cabo Verde. The mayor of Praia, he's a is a friend. He's a good friend of mine, and we are always in touch. So, Francisco Tavares, Carvalho, you are the most welcome here. You don't need to call me Sister Janice because I'm I'm getting used to this new thing. You know, I just call me Jan. Just call me Janice. Just
It would be a bit
Jan.
hard being from I said it would be a bit hard being Catholic and going through Catholic school, so it would be very difficult not to call you sister.
Then I know. Yeah, then I know. Is if you went to Catholic church, so it's Sister Janice.
Yes, I have been Catholic all my life, and I started lecturing at church since I was 5 years old, and I still lecture at my parish. So
Okay,
yeah.
no problem, no problem, no problem. So there you go. Thank you, Joyce. Yes, Andrew, once again, Andrew has this unique skill of, you know, uh, making the good connections between people. Andrew is an angel, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, Andrew is so blessed. May God bless you, Andrew. So you can count me in your initiatives. I am ready to, you know, to collaborate with you within your foundation and your efforts. So now you're based in the US, right?
Yes, I'm currently based in Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay, Virginia. Okay. So Andrew, maybe we can hear from you. Maybe you have a better idea on how we move forward.
Well, actually, Janice, you came up with the idea 2 years ago. It's on the screen now. In addition to the one dress, one smile, Janice Da Silva introduced this idea of Dev 7. And that's where I wanted Joyce to see if Armo Williams Foundation could work with AHIABGA and Dev 7 to actually now fund and launch this idea that Janice has. So Janice, maybe you could explain a little bit about Dev 17, because as you see, Janice, it's intended not just to be a global multi-professional for knowledge sharing, advocacy, and coaching on the acceleration of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, but because Janice is multilingual, I'm hoping we can add an additional team member so that we can address all of the official languages of the African Union, in addition to, of course, French, Spanish, English. We also have to bring in Arabic and Swahili. So the idea is that we would become a full service center to address those issues.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes. Dev 17, you know, the main idea of Dev 17 is to really, you know, gather professionals from different areas, from all the 17 SDGs areas to come and work together, you know, to build a global team of professionals that can deliver to the, you know, they can put this technical assistance, they can put all the experiences that we have to the service of different organizations and different public or private or CBOs organizations. You know, we basically, you know, in terms of strategy, as I've mentioned, it's not an organization itself. It's an initiative, it's a network, you know, it's a network where we can share our ideas, our plan of actions, and come up with a unique action plan. Of course, we should work a lot in advocacy. We should, you know, work on different webinars on different teams. I think we started 2 years ago with the CIPAS. You remember, Andrew, the African organization, but after COVID came, etc. But we can relaunch it, having weekly, as you do actually, Andrew, within your network. Dev 17 can just jump in what you are doing, huh? And we don't need to create another platform. I think AHIABGA, it's the umbrella, the Andrew networks, it's the umbrella platform. Dev 17 will be more focused on the SDGs itself, you know, on the SDGs to teach people. Because what I was on a meeting today that I was invited, UN Senegal, and it's quite you know, critical, as the UNDP representative was saying, that SDGs seems to be something so far from the communities, and it's true, you know, so far. People sometimes they don't even remember that about this SDGs. So I think we should do something concrete things, you know, with schools, for example, to teach people that, okay, to teach the students to at least inform them that there are those global agendas that has to do with their future, for them to have an opinion, to have a say, and for their, you know, they words to be listened globally, you know. And I think AHIABGA plays an interesting role here to you know, to show to the world that and I remember that I was so inspired, and I keep repeating all the time that we Goodwill Ambassadors of Five Points with Youth Foundation, we work towards the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact, and we want to show to the UN itself that from the grassroots is where we, you know, achieve the SDGs, you know. And yes, so Dev 17, it comes to, you know, to join to all this global initiatives and tell the world that we can localize the SDGs. Is true. It's something that it is in our hands. And firstly, we need to, you know, to share this information. They sometimes seems to be so, you know, people, intellectuals based information, and it's not like that, you know. My maid, she needs to know that there are this 17 SDGs with their goals and targets, etc., for her to know how to position, for her to know that, you know, this kind of things. And I think we should continue with this webinars, with this weekly webinars. And I always encourage the partners, anything you do, you are free to use Dev 17 logo, you know. You're free to use Dev 17 logo. It's a way to, you know, to make people remember about the SDGs, because it's not widely and appropriately, you know, diffused, unfortunately. It's not yet. It's not yet. And we must do something. So I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy, but it's doable, you know, it's possible. It's a matter of, and now in my intervention today at the Dakar event, I was mentioning that, you know, even internet access is not for free in Africa. You know, we started all those showcase in a rural city, And they, for them to join Zoom, they need to pay. It's quite crazy. You remember that, Andrew, that you offered this, your
Mhm.
platform, and people
Yes.
are able to accept it because they need to pay it after 30 minutes connection. you know so it's not easy, so we should discuss as well on the free access to internet to everyone, to all. Now is the time. We are in a new normal, everything online, so people need to have it for free. Huh?
Well,
Yes.
let me also share my screen again. If you can see it, Janice, it's true that very few people are at the grassroots level aware of the Sustainable Development Goals. But I found in my conversations with people on the continent, very few are aware of the African Union Agenda 2063 and
Oh,
how that relates to the Sustainable Development Goals. So the task I would like to ask Janice and you is for us to undertake this effort to connect those dots using the United Nations Global Compact as the platform that is now supposedly dedicated to doing just that. As I understand it, they have committed to making investments in doing local community awareness. So, Janice, if we can pull together a team that could be there, uh, even for around the world, that can provide technical support and assistance, I think we can connect the dots. Over the last 18 months, we have actually reached over 10,000 people through our AHIABGA network. And the meeting that Janice attended earlier today, Joyce, was a weekly meeting we've been doing with our UnityNet Africa group. Now they have self-organized. So we have people on the ground in almost every place where there is now these 10 local networks in Africa. And we have people on the ground in those other 45 countries where there aren't. So if we could choose this as our banner, I think we could attract support from the United Nations Global Compact and through the United Nations Global Compact from those aid organizations whose job it is to do these things, but have to connect with us at the grassroots to demonstrate that they're actually accomplishing those goals and objectives.
I couldn't agree more. And, like you said, sister, it's really the lack of awareness. I spent the latter part of last year in Ghana, and I went to a couple of villages speaking with women. And one question, because we were doing also the after advocacy, and people ask, can you tell me exactly how this free trade area is going to impact my life? Why should I care? What does it matter to me? Because all the sensitization, everything is happening in Accra or Kumasi, which is the big cities. And so people are not aware. And as Andrew rightfully said, the Agenda 2063 is really combined. It should be able to connect to the SDGs, as well as the Global Compact, as well as even from the US side, the Prosper Africa Agenda. But I see all these different disjointed initiatives that are really going in different direction with a lot of media, but no real impact. And so I am really on board with taking this banner and connecting the different initiatives, Prosper Africa, Agenda 2063, the Global Compact, as well as the Sustainable Development Goals, to really pull the resources together and go into the rural communities, educating them, and then making resources available for them to really benefit and be impactful. I always say that, at the end of the SDGs's set date, we'll be having reports that look similar like the Millennium Development Goals, because I don't see anything that is being done different from when the Millennium Development Goals were established. It's the same routine. And so the impact becomes less than what we should really have experienced. The tragedy of the whole thing is we have better resources and we have better opportunities to reach more people these days than when the Millennial Development Goals were in place. So to come to the same conclusion at the end of the set dates for these targeted goals, it's just a tragedy.
Well, the reality is that there is a major difference. The Millennium Development Goals, as you know, again, they only had 8 goals, and those were just devised by a handful of people at the bottom of the United Nations building. They admitted that. Two of the differences about the Sustainable Development Goals is the common African position on the post-Millennium Development Goals that was put together in the run-up to creating what is now known as Agenda 2063. So actually, Joyce, another major difference are the 169 targets. Now, the major beneficiaries of all these statistical information are the major corporations and the governments that use these to justify their attraction of more funds. Where you and I and Joyce can make a big difference, I believe, is in encouraging and educating our grassroots people about the languages that is being used at the top so that they cannot ignore us. And in fact, we can then drive that narrative. So
exactly,
that is what I'm committed to do, and working with you and doing it in whatever way I possibly can.
Great, Andrew. Great, great. Let me give you a recent example. When I was, preparing the strategic document for this mayor, I asked him to sit down with some, local village people. Here they call it this. They call it. They have a leader, which normally is young. I know in the rest of Africa, the leader is someone senior, but here they copy Europe a little bit. So yes, so this young people normally they are at the university, but even them, students, the future intellectuals of the country, I found that some of them that never heard about the SDGs. I was almost, crying. And when I came back to the mayor office, I told him, but you need to do something. You need to do advocacy. You need to go and teach them, and as Andrew said, to show them what is the language, what is the the approach that is being adopted at the top, for them to organize themselves and tell, okay, we don't agree with it, or we agree with it, or we have our own, story that we want to, to show to them that they are not doing it properly, etc. So I think it's this work can be really impactful. You can count on me, on my expertise. I am a social worker as well, so I know how to to approach communities quite well. So you can count on me. We can make a difference here in Africa, but everywhere actually. And if I can share you a lessons learned, is that people don't need to agree to the global agenda. They just need to think for themselves, as I was telling the mayor. I will share with you sooner or later the document. He needs to approve it and to allow me to share it, of course. But there was a section when I give him some guidelines that how the community can start thinking for themselves. They just need to compare. Okay, we have the SDGs here, we have our needs here. How can we link to the SDGs and vice versa? You know, the simple exercise, I think, can make a difference, because they will know that the SDGs and all those big targets, and they will you know, the main difference between the MDGs and the SDGs is that the SDGs, they are more flexible than the MDGs, you know, and I think that's a, you know, a plus. And even as Andrew said, at the UN, we did this mea culpa and said, okay, you can never again set up the same goals for different countries. That's what happened with the MDGs. I think now with the SDGs, it's better, because you have the you know, the opportunity to localize it, okay, to localize
Exactly.
it. And so the localization is nothing but, you know, putting the SDGs, looking at it and say, okay, I don't agree with it. I want to adapt it to my own reality, you know? So I think we can go this way. And like that, it will be, you know, more easy. People don't need to appropriate in terms of accepting it. They need to know it, for them to criticize, for them to give different ways of thinking, for them to say, okay, I'm going to use this, I'm going to adapt that, etc., etc. Yeah, it's an exhaustive work, but it's doable. It's possible. I think it is. I think it is. And we need at the same time, you know, sensitize the officials, the mayors, the ministers, etc., those who really have money to support our technical assistance. And it's not that difficult, based on my experience, it's not that difficult, because we can start with, you know, pilot communities. When they see the impact, they will put more money on it, of course. You know, I'm so positive. Otherwise, you know, I really believe in people. Otherwise, I will just give up. Yeah, yeah. Andrew?
Yes, I'm here, but Joyce, I do want to again share my screen briefly. The linkage for me is actually, it relies upon Janice's background and expertise, because here in the United States, for example, there's the Department of Housing and Urban Development that is the interface with the UN Habitat, right? So it's their responsibility to adapt these tools and resources for the United States. Unfortunately, what's happened, Janice, is what is a call to action for you and me, because we are now in the United States.
Mhm.
It was last year during the Juneteenth session when they commemorated the unfortunate murder of George Floyd and its impact on our community, that the United Nations Global Compact shared that none of the 50 United States are even halfway to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. But the ones that are left most furthest behind are the indigenous communities, the African communities, and the Hispanic communities. So part of what I did last year was develop what now I'm showing on my screen. It's nothing more than just a call to action. And at the top left, you'll see the Saga Foundation. They're based in Canada and the United States and Nigeria. One of our AHIABGA Goodwill ambassadors, Shola Agbula, is in Manitoba, Canada, but he's a part of the parliament. But also, he was responsible for delivering over $50 million worth of donations from the government of Canada and corporations to Nigeria and Kenya from between 2013 and now. So he's at our table and he's at our fingertips. We can begin to route some of these resources through our network. But Joyce, the challenge for AHIABGA is that AHIABGA, as Janice says, it is an initiative. So it was launched first under 5 Points Youth Foundation, but now my corporation, PAR XTC, has actually secured the domain for AHIABGA. And with Lady Alicia Hamilton, we have a AHIABGA-TV channel. so we can begin to create content that will let us drive forward these young people to tell their own stories in a way where we can then, I think, represent their interests to the gatekeepers that we all know at the international, national, and financial levels. But for example, just to walk through this briefly, there is, as you know right now, in the United States Senate, a terrible fight going on over voters' rights. But this is only because of racial injustices that have been happening for centuries here in the United States. But Janice, you need to know that you're not alone in Cabo Verde. Now, on the August 2nd of 2021 launch of the United Nations Permanent Forum for People of African Descent, everything that we do can, in fact, now get a global audience if we understand how to navigate that the media circus, so to speak. So on the screen, I'm sharing this document, and what I did was I linked the Justice for Indigenous Peoples Worldwide to the United Nations Global Compact strategy for 2021 through 2023 as the first leg of us achieving the action to deliver on the SDGs. But again, here in the United States, Joyce, what I'm hoping is that we can find a way that we can do work here in the United States that can begin to leverage the narrative about the Sustainable Development Goals, but also involve our hip hop community and others in our youth and millennials to be the ones that create public service announcements and also infomercials. First, of course, for social media, but the idea is to improve the professionalism so that we can penetrate the global stage and have corporations that actually pay us to be the ones to deliver the message that they need to get out, but to the audience that only we can reach. So this is the kind of idea, Joyce, that I would like to umbrella it really with the Armu Williams Foundation, because you are in the best position for us to direct all of our talents resources because the credibility you've already established worldwide. So technically, Joyce, I'm throwing in your hands everything that Janice brings and everything that I bring. And we just need you to understand and help us help you to help us all move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And I think, Andrew, as we have spoken a number of times and different initiatives, and the goal has always been to consolidate all of these under one umbrella and then look for who fits where so that actions will begin. And then also in consolidating and having one major platform where all these things falls under, we are able to then leverage on those resources to obtain the necessary financing to make movements, because in order to carry out all of these things, the financial aspect also becomes important. So whether it's a fund that is established for this network, so that it would then fund all the different initiatives under the network, that is something I'm willing to explore and develop and set it up so that we will be able to advance forward.
Okay, well, let me also tell you now, with this project coming up in March, with this International and Indigenous Women's Day Conference, I have a meeting later today with HOPIN. HOPIN is a platform that actually provided the United Nations Global Compact that footprint last year. It is a world-class platform, but I'm going to be looking for funds to secure that platform for what we're doing, because not only can we then register and capture all the email addresses and mobile phone numbers of anyone that participates with any of our projects, we can also have control of any of the attendees that attend any of the events for any of the participants. That intellectual property alone, Joyce, I think will become the most valuable resource we have, the actual numbers as we go forward. Because this team, as I said, last year, they had 17 countries involved. They're actually looking to get 50,000 people to attend. And that's really not a hard number to reach because they have people from 50 countries working on this. And they have an intern group out of Pakistan of 150 interns that are ready to be directed to what they can do to help create the social media, a viral social media platform to go forward. But I was able to influence the development of this platform so that it's the International and Indigenous Women's Development Conference to have a longer vision than just a one-off. So this is actually began last year, and the umbrella is 2021 through 2030, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is a catchphrase, and the idea is that we can attract corporate sponsors for anchor corporate sponsors for 10 years for the entire run. And that will give us, I think, a solid foundation then that we could use to carry forward these individual initiatives like Joyce's and yours.
Okay.
Wonderful. So I believe that the next steps will be really putting, and Andrew, you already have the presentations and all of those. So if you can share those, because I want us to start from one document and just begin to compile and have the profiles of the different entities and just build from there. I have had the chance to use Hopin with the HBCU African College Tour because they couldn't do it in person last year. So they used Hopin, and it was really wonderful to be able to socialize and other things like that. And, you know, just this week on Monday, I was invited to a virtual office from one of the metaverse platforms to explore having a law firm in the metaverse, because apparently people are buying land and people are doing all kinds of things on there. So really the opportunities are just innumerable, and we just need to organize and then take advantage of it.
So yes, yes, and yes is all I can tell you.
Perfect. So
And yes,
think,
yes too.
yes. So I think I had mentioned to you, Andrew, previously that I'm going to have one of my intern work with you in organizing and pulling all this data together. So I'm going to do an email introduction later today between you and Nicole to bring, she's really super organized, and she's going to help to pull all of these together. And then we can then use that to develop our plan of action and then go from there.
I do appreciate that. And let me let you know that when I'm most efficient is when I have that kind of assistance. I have all these content. I have access to all these different things, but I just need guidance and how to funnel them into a way that they can be better managed.
Exactly. So that's what she's going to do, is to put all of them together. We did use some contacts lists last year to build. We're looking at HubSpot as a data management platform, so that whether it's events, emailing, or just putting blasts on social medias and other things like that, all your contacts, all the networks will be connected. And there's also another platform, it's called Metadon, where you can actually set up and have multiple entities who are doing different things but connected to your agency. So it's like using the loudspeaker to make an announcement. Everybody gets it, and then they can go ahead and rebroadcast around the world as well.
Well, yes. Well, here's the thing. Again, I'm able, as Janice has told you, I'm able to have contacts and networks worldwide. The one thing that we can always do is have fresh content, because as we go forward, we can begin. Also, the other reason that Janice is so important is because it's the multilingual applications or distribution of content that will put us so far ahead of any competition. That's one reason why I'm looking to make this investment in Hopin, because they provide simultaneous translations for any of the activities and events. But more important for us, if we do this thing right, then we can actually have backlinks again to continue to build our database. And just like Metaverse or a Twitter, it will be that content base that then becomes the power that we have. And if those are all informed individuals working together in unity, we're unstoppable.
Perfect. So we are going to go ahead and do that. I will put you in touch with my intern and we'll start that process.
Okay, well, thank you so very much. I recorded this and I'll share it with both of you. So I do appreciate this. And Janice, any closing thoughts?
It's just I drop in here on chat the ODOS concept note. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's and Andrew will share with you the Dev 17, and I think he shared already the ODOS narrative. So thank you very much. As Andrew said, we are here together. We can make a difference. This is the start of the dialogue. Looking forward to more, chats and from our side, sending greetings from Cabo Verde to you all there in the US. Be safe. And may God bless you. And we are together. We are together to make a difference.
Exactly.
And finally, before we go, I do, Janice, want you to make sure that Janice has your local contact so that her contact in Praia can connect with you and you could be our interface with the mayor to let him know that we're all in this together.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I
All
love you
right.
both. I'm going to wind this up.
Love.
Love
Bye-bye.
all around. Bye.
Bye.